Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, my name's Erica and I share all things homeschooling, family, and faith. Our family has been homeschooling for about 2.5 years now, and so I wanted to make a video of 10 things that I wish I knew before we started homeschooling, which I hope can help you and your family if you're new to homeschooling, or if you've been homeschooling for a while even, or if you're just even considering homeschool. So I hope you like these tips and tricks and things that I wish I knew before I started homeschooling. So number 10 is to take advantage of the perks of homeschooling. So as a home educator, you can actually make yourself a home educating teacher ID. And with that ID, there are a lot of perks that come along with it. For instance, you can enroll in Michael's teacher discount, and you can receive 15% off every single purchase, whether it's a sale item or not. Which is great because you can get a lot of homeschool supplies at Michael's, a lot of arts and crafts. Michael sells a ton of things that is helpful for homeschool moms, so that's one of the perks. There are quite a few stores that give a teacher discount, and a lot of those stores will give you the discount if you are a home educator as well. So always have your ID on you and always ask, because you never know. One of the best places that I found to shop and use my teacher discount is actually at our outlet stores, and I found that Gap, Banana Republic, multiple stores took the teacher discount, and it was awesome because I was able to save 10%. So definitely look up stores in your area that have a teacher discount and see if you can use your home educator ID card to get that discount as well. Number 9 is to learn your state rules. So every state has different rules when it comes to homeschooling, and I actually didn't know that before I started homeschooling. I kind of just like jumped in and was like, okay, let's get some curriculum and let's get going. I had no idea that there was rules and regulations that you needed to follow. So for our state, we live in the state of Florida, we have to submit a letter of intent, and we also have to do a yearly evaluation, and that yearly evaluation has to be done by a certified teacher. So there's lots of resources out there to help you find a certified teacher to do an evaluation. You can also just ask for recommendations from other homeschool moms. I think that is the best place to get recommendations, is other homeschooling parents that have been doing it for longer, because they know all the ins and outs and they know all the best people and best places to go. So yeah, so definitely learn your state rules before you start homeschooling. You can go onto your state website and look up all the home education rules and regulations, and then you can inform yourself before you start homeschooling. Number 8 is state testing. So not every state is going to require your child to take state testing as a homeschooler. However, if you apply for certain scholarships, you might have to do state testing. I also think it's kind of helpful sometimes to do the state testing just as a guideline, so you can see where your child is at, and it can be pretty helpful. So I wanted to recommend a website. It's actually called Homeschool Boss, and they have most of the state testing available on Homeschool Boss. So for instance, this year I did the MAP reading and math test with my 7-year-old, and it was awesome because it was proctored online. So I was able to sit with him and guide him a little bit. Our kids are not used to using computers because we don't involve a lot of screen time with our schooling. So when it came to taking state testing, even just the fact of like trying to use a mouse or just the way it was worded and clicking on something was new to him because we don't use computers. At this time. I'm sure we will as they get older, but right now they're 7 and 4, so we don't really use computers. So it was really nice to be able to sit with him and kind of guide him and help him through some of the questions and maybe reword it for him. And it was really awesome to use as a guideline to see where he was at and compare kind of where other kids of his age were at that were in the public school system. Again, this is not something that you have to do. It's not something that's always required by state, but sometimes it is nice to just get a base and a guideline, especially when you're new to homeschooling and you're wondering if you're doing a good job. This can be a great little resource to use. So check out Homeschool Boss. They're pretty cool. They have lots of testing on there. They had MAP, they have iReady, they have tons of them on there. And you just pick the test that you want, you purchase it, and then you take it on a day that you are available. Number 7 is to remember that it is not always going to be rainbows and sunshine. There are tons of Instagram accounts out there that are going to make it look like they have the absolute perfect homeschool room, the perfect homeschooling schedule, and that everything is just happy and sunny all the time, and they're just picking flowers and walking through nature and they've got it all together. Let's remember that no one has it all together. So it is okay if some days are hard. It's not always going to be perfect, but you know what, you did this for a reason. So just remember that on those days, remember why you did it. Remember why you wanted to become a homeschool mom. And just remember that it's not always going to be rainbows and sunshine. It's okay if there's some meltdowns. It's okay if you have to skip a lesson because someone needs a doctor's appointment. It's okay if you're traveling and you don't get as much work done on the road as you thought you would. It's gonna be fine. Your kids are gonna be fine. You're gonna get through it. Just remember that it's not always going to be perfect, and that is perfectly fine. Number 6 is to don't overcomplicate it. This is something that I'm working on in literally every area of my life, is to simplify things as much as possible, because I think the simpler it is, the more that you're going to enjoy it. So no matter what that is, if you try to find a way to simplify it, you're going to enjoy it more. So when I first started homeschooling, I was trying to emulate like a classroom setting. We would do circle time and we would pull in all these resources, and then I was doing like 3 different curriculums, like a spelling and a poetry and this and that. And it was so overwhelming. And I was just like, okay, we need to pare this down and pick out the absolute most important things and stick to those. So now our days go so much smoother, and it's so much more enjoyable because we do 1 lesson of math, 1 lesson of language arts, we do 30 minutes of reading, we do handwriting, and then that's pretty much it for the day. And they get everything that they need, and it's a simplified version, and my kids enjoy it more, and I actually enjoy it more too, because I'm not trying to pull from a million different things. Now, that's not to say that you can't, take something that your kid is interested in and run with it. Like, we did a little space study last year, and that was super fun because my son had came to me and he said, I really want to learn about space. And I was like, okay, cool. So I went online, I found all these resources and activities, and we did a day of just that, and that was awesome. So I highly encourage you to follow your child and what they're interested in, but just don't overcomplicate it. Don't think that you have to do all the things every single day. Number 5 is don't be afraid to use resources in your community. Just because you're homeschooling doesn't mean that you have to do it all alone. For us, we are a part of Classical Conversations, and I honestly wouldn't have it any other way because it provides a built-in community, and I love that. I love the community that my kids get for friendships, but I also love the community of support that I get from the other moms and women in this group. It's been absolutely such a huge blessing to our family. But there's tons of different co-ops out there and small groups and different ways that you can use resources in your community to not feel like you're doing this alone. So I highly encourage you to take advantage of those resources in your community, whether it be your kids signing up for sports that they're allowed to join as a home educated student, whether it be homeschool classes that you sign up for at science centers or libraries. Those are all really great resources to take advantage of and get plugged in. And then that's how you're going to learn about other homeschooling opportunities, is by talking to other parents at those events. So I highly encourage you to take advantage of all the homeschool resources in your area and don't feel like you have to do it all alone. Number 4 is to not compare yourself to other homeschool moms. Say it louder for the people in the back. Don't compare yourself to other homeschool moms. Comparison is the thief of joy. I will say it again. Comparison is the thief of joy. The second you start comparing yourself and your homeschool to another homeschooling family is when you're going to start finding faults in it. As soon as I start going down a rabbit hole on Instagram of other homeschool accounts that I'm like, oh man, my homeschooling room does not look like that, or oh, we're not reading outside under a tree on a blanket, like why aren't we doing that, or why aren't we climbing mountains or swimming in streams or fishing every day, like that is going to steal the joy that I have with homeschooling and the activities that we do. Just really want to remind you to not compare yourself to other people, because no one has it all together and no one is doing it perfectly. And your way of doing it is the perfect way for doing it for your family. And that doesn't mean that it needs to look any other way than the way that you want to do it and that makes you feel happy, your children feel happy, and for you to feel successful. Number 3 is to remember that kids learn in different ways. My kids are polar opposites when it comes to learning. One is very kinesthetic. One can sit there and work a little bit longer on like copy work and stay on task a little bit more. Another one wants to kind of be upside down while they're reading. So kids learn in so many different ways. And so that is the beauty of homeschooling, is that you get to tailor your curriculum to your kids' learning style. So just remember that what works for one kid is not necessarily going to work for the other kid, and that's totally fine. It's okay if somebody needs to lay on their belly and do their schoolwork. It's okay if somebody needs to drive a monster truck to different flashcards to read it. It's okay if they need to snuggle up on the couch and read with you because they need a little bit of extra love that day. That is the beauty of homeschooling. So just remember that every single one of your kids is going to learn different, and try to learn their learning style so that you can be equipped to teach them in the style that they learn best, because then your homeschooling day is going to go so much better if you're really trying to teach them in the best way that they learn. Number 2 is to find your rhythm. Find the rhythm that works for you and your non-negotiables. So for us as a family, our non-negotiable is our morning routine. We get up, we eat breakfast, we make the beds, throw in a load of laundry, the kids get dressed, go potty, brush teeth, and then we're out the door for a family walk. All of us, me, my husband, our dog, and our 2 kids, we go for a walk, and it's a 2-mile walk every day, and it has honestly been such a game changer for our family. It takes us about 45 minutes because the dog needs to stop every 5 minutes and go potty, but my son gets to ride his bike for 2 miles. My daughter will ride her bike sometimes, or sometimes she wants to sit in the stroller because she's a bit younger, and that's fine. But we get sunshine, we get outside, we get our bodies moving, and that is a non-negotiable for us in the morning, is to get sunlight and get your bodies moving before you have to sit down and do any work. So find a rhythm that works for your family. If it's not a morning walk, that's fine. Maybe it's you read the Bible on the couch together before you start. Maybe you have a morning basket, but find a rhythm that works for your family. Because then we know once we get back from that walk, everyone has about 20 to 30 minutes to kind of prepare their brains and for me to set up for homeschool, and then we're off to the races. And everyone focuses so much better once they've got energy out and they've eaten. That's another thing too. Make sure your kids are always full. Otherwise, it's going to be mayhem, trust me. But yeah, find a rhythm that works for you, and then don't compromise your school time. Obviously, you can be flexible with that routine, but I try to not plan anything between the hours of 10 and 1 unless it's a play date that we've pre-planned, and I'm okay with taking that day off. But I really try to keep that 10 to 1, 10 to 2 schedule pretty sacred, because I know that that is the best time of day for us to do our schoolwork. That's when I'm at my best. That's when my kids are at their best. You know, we've done our morning routine, we've eaten, and everybody's ready. That's when it's going to go super well. So I try to really respect that time and protect that time to make sure that nothing interrupts our homeschool. And my last tip is to not forget to enjoy it. Don't forget to enjoy it. Don't forget to enjoy homeschooling your kids. You chose to homeschool your kids for a reason. So on the tough days, don't forget your why of why you chose to homeschool your kids. And remember that this is such a blessing that we get to homeschool our beautiful kids. We get so many hours back with them by being able to homeschool and not sending them off to school all day. We get to see all of their firsts and all of their lasts. We get to see what that light bulb moment goes off. We get to see everything. And yeah, it can be draining and it can be hard some days, but it's actually such a blessing. And I know that this is a time in life that I'm going to look back on, and I'm going to be so glad that I did this. I'm going to be so glad that I had that extra time with them, and I'm never going to regret it. So just don't forget your why, and don't forget to enjoy it. And if that means taking a day off of curriculum and just going outside and playing together, or going for a bike ride, or going swimming, then let that be what you need that day. But don't forget to enjoy it. Don't lose the joy that you have in homeschooling, and don't forget your why, so you can always have that joy in homeschooling. I hope you guys found this video helpful, and if you guys did, please give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comments down below some of the things that you wish you knew before you started homeschooling. If you love this video, I'd absolutely love it if you subscribe to my channel and tick that notification bell so that you're notified every single time that I make a video. I hope you guys have an amazing week, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!